All right, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? Is the Mass Reviewer back again with another review, and today we are doing a review for The Bear Season 1. I watched The Bear finally. I started, my sister, she watched it and she spoke very highly of it, so I went into this with pretty high expectations. I do cook a lot. I do like to cook. It is something that I have been doing for quite a few years now. I wouldn't call myself a chef, but I do definitely cook, so I was definitely intrigued to watch this. And I will just start off by saying that I definitely think that this, at least for season 1 so far, I do think that this is a very overrated show in my opinion, but we'll get more into it. That doesn't mean it's bad, it just means I think it's overrated. So anyway, let's just start off with the plot. So the plot of the show is that basically you have the main character, Carmen. He ends up inheriting a restaurant from his brother, Mikey, after he ends up committing suicide. So the show is basically that this restaurant is like not doing great, to be honest. It's like a very messy system of how it's like they end up getting things done, and so it's not running very well. So Carmen, he's like, by the way, Carmen is like the best chef in the world. Basically, he's like this it takes place like in our world, but I'm assuming like I don't know, maybe Gordon Ramsay does exist in this world, but he's basically like the Gordon Ramsay of like this world. So he's like the best chef in the world. Like he won like an award for being the best chef in the world. So, and it's stated multiple times that he is the best chef in the world. So he ends up inheriting this restaurant, and then he does like later on he does say like, oh, he's trying to fix this in order to like fix like whatever happened with his brother, like his relationship with his brother, because like his brother Mikey, he did end up committing suicide, but Carmen doesn't really know why. So he was addicted to painkillers and stuff. And anyway, so yeah, the plot is basically that Carmen is trying to whip this restaurant into shape, trying to get it to be a very respectable, nice place. He struggles with like financial issues with all sorts of like issues he overcomes across the course of the season. So anyway, I'm gonna give the plot I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. It's pretty good. It's not like as interesting as something like Severance, where the premise itself was like I was intrigued by it. Also like The Sopranos, like those are shows where it's like just the premise on its own, it's like it gets you to want to watch this. This is like, oh, they're trying to like turn a dying restaurant into a successful business. It's like it's not the most original thing. It is like something that we have seen before, but it's like one of those shows where it's like, okay, it's not really an original premise, but if it's done well, then it's like it can be good. So anyway, so the plot, I give it like a 7 out of 10. It was pretty good. Like it was interesting watching like the challenges that Carmen faces and stuff. I do really like the pressure that the show is able to create with the plot and stuff, like with all the every episode, not every episode, but in pretty much every episode, there's like they're cooking in the kitchen and they're working, and the characters, it's a really tense. I'll get to that with the settings, but so yeah, I'll put that on pause for now, and then we'll get back to that for the settings. So in terms of the characters, you have, let me just say, all the actors did a great job. I did like all the acting. I think the characters, they do really manage to channel this like anger and aggression. Jeremy Allen White does any scene where it's like he's getting upset like at his staff, like especially, okay, episode 7 of season 1, that was my favorite episode of the season. It's just this one take. I think like, okay, maybe not one take, but it gets into this one take sequence that like, maybe not the first few minutes, maybe it does some cuts, but then it gets into this one take sequence for the rest of the episode of just like, they're in the kitchen, they're feeling the stress, and it's like just everything is like, it's extremely stressful, and it cuts between like, not cuts into like, it's showing like different characters, like how they're handling the situation. It shows Carmen, he's like getting really agitated, like really upset about it with everyone in the staff. It shows you also see Sydney. She's a character that she ends up at the start of the season. She ends up getting hired to work at the Original Beef. That's what it's called. And she ends up she gets hired to work there, and then she becomes the sous chef, so the second in command pretty much, and she is trying to help improve the place, but it's like there's difficulties that come with that, with like getting everyone's approval kind of, and also and yeah, just she's also like not as experienced as Carmen stuff, so there's some tension there. And yeah, then other than that, you have Richard, who is played by Evan Moss Backrack, I think. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but all the actors do a great job. Richard, he's one of my favorite characters. He was the best friend of Mikey, and he is basically, he's not related to Carmen, but like they're so close that they call each other cousins and stuff. And I think that it was really good with this character, especially like in the final episode, he ends up getting arrested and almost gets charged with manslaughter. But then luckily the guy that he knocked out ended up waking up, so he was fine. But it's like he is this character where it's like he is kind of an asshole a lot of the time, but at the same time he does have good intentions, and he's like deep down like a good character. And he is also like facing the struggles of like dealing with like the death of Mikey and stuff, and he does feel very much responsible because Carmen, he was like away for a lot of the time that Mikey was going through his issues, but then Mikey was like his best friend. Richie was Mikey's best friend, so he does feel a sense of responsibility for what happened to Mikey. Who else? You have Marcus, who he was fine, but a lot of the time with him was just kind of spent on he was like working on donuts and stuff, and like just it wasn't the most interesting, to be honest, in my opinion. You had Tina, who I didn't really like her at the start. At the start, she did feel like very much an asshole. Like every time like there was a scene with her, she was just complaining to someone, or it's like she was like just she kind of came off as like very unlikable. But then as the course of the show, it's like she did start to like gain a sense of respect for like Sydney, like for her being in charge. And so I did as the course of the season went on, she became better in my opinion. Sugar, she was fine. She just she every time she shows up, it's kind of just like her speaking with Mikey. I thought it was good, like them like dealing with the grief of like the loss of Mikey together. But other than that, it's like she does just kind of show up to just point out a lot of the problems of like, oh, Mikey, like this restaurant, it's like it's a failing business. It's like this isn't gonna like nothing's gonna come from this, and we're in debt with the taxes and stuff. It's like you're not grieving properly. This is not healthy for you, and it's like a lot of it is just her complaining to Carmen. So because that, yeah. There's some other side characters, not really anyone worth mentioning, to be honest. There's Mikey, I guess, played by Jon Bernthal, and he is only in like one scene in the entire season. It was a good scene, and I do like Jon Bernthal, so I think you do see him more in the later season, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so he was fine, I guess. There was Neil Thack, and he was good. I liked him, those scenes with him. He's like kind of like comic relief, I guess. There's some other characters like Sweeps, Abraham, Cicero. They're not really too much. Not really anyone worth speaking about too much. So, in terms of the characters, I'm going to give them, I'll say a 7.5. I said that they were very good. I did really like the actors. I did think that every actor in this did a great job, and the characters were great, especially like when there's like conflict between the characters, when there's like the characters are arguing with each other. I think that's when they're at their best. So, in terms of the settings, this all takes place in the original Beef of Chicago. I think that's what it's called. So, it's the restaurant that Mikey owned that Carmen ended up inheriting. And I think they do a great job of like, you have this kitchen setting and it feels very claustrophobic. And so it does give like a great sense of, it helps to create pressure for the episodes. Like when the characters are arguing with each other, it's like this great setting where it's like, it does feel very much like a stressful environment that the characters are in. So I will give but it's all, then again, it's like, it's good. Yeah, I guess the kitchen's good, but other than that, isn't really any other setting that's better than that. So I guess I'll give the kitchen, I'll say, 7 out of 10. It's pretty good. It's like it's not like it works for the show, but it's not like there's nowhere else really. There's no other setting really that's worth pointing out. So, in terms of the drama, I'll give the drama I'll say, I guess a 7 out of 10. It was pretty good. Like it wasn't the most. Like once again, like maybe this is because I just came off of watching Severance, which is like I really thought that was like a top tier show, to be honest, and the drama there was like incredible, I thought, and so. Something like Severance, and also before Severance, I ended up watching Sopranos. So it's like in those shows, it's like you do have like really, really good drama. But then in this one, it's like I don't know, maybe the stakes are lower. It's like like the worst thing that could happen is that just like the business doesn't end up working that out, and it kind of feels like okay, all these people like they are well trained chefs, so it's like it doesn't feel like worst case scenario they just end up having to find another job. I guess it was good towards the end where it's like you do have Richie ends up getting arrested and stuff. That is like some good drama. I did like that, and all the scenes where the characters are fighting, I did think were very good. I thought that like all the tension between like when Sydney's fighting with Richie, when Richie's fighting with when Richie's disagreeing with Carmen, or when Richie's anytime Richie's basically fighting with someone that's good. Richie fights with Neil and stuff. Like anytime there's like characters that are arguing with each other, or even if it's just like Carmen, if he's like shouting at some of his workers, like I think that it is all very good drama. I do think that it is good. In terms of the worst things, I guess the worst thing is. I don't know if there's a worst thing. I guess the worst thing would probably just be like my expectations going into it were too high, and so my expectations were not met, sadly. So I guess I don't know that I will say my expectations where it ended up landing was I don't know. I really don't know how to describe this. I think in previous videos I used this as the worst thing, but where my expectations ended up, it was I'll say my expectations going into this, how they ended up, the outcome of how they ended up was. I guess, I don't know, above average maybe, like how it ended up turning out, as in like what my, like here, if you say okay, pick a number 1 through 10, and then you say, okay, 5, and then the number's 8. It's like, okay, well, you had an above average. I guess like it was kind of close. I guess it was only 3 off, so something like that. I don't really know how to describe it too well, but I'm just gonna give it a 6 for that whole my expectations kind of. So, in terms of the best thing, I'm gonna say all the rage scenes of like characters getting angry, all the anger in the show, like the pressure, the tensity. I'm gonna give all that. I'm gonna say between an 8 to an 8.5. I thought it was between great and amazing, and I'm gonna be harsh and only give it an 8. I will say that it was great, but once again, it was great. I did like all of the tense scenes between the characters. So I am going to, I don't have any extra notes because once again, it's a series. I don't write extra notes for series. So I am going to do the calculations. So King Crimson. All right, so it ends up coming out to a 7 out of 10 pretty much, and that would be pretty good. And I think I would give it a pretty good, to be honest. I think I would give it like a 7 out of 10, like maybe between 7 to a 7.5 if I'm being generous. So fine, I'll give it between a 7 to a 7.5. It's between like pretty good and very good. I kind of went into this, I thought like maybe because it is only season 1, and I'm pretty sure like I don't know, maybe season 2 and 3, and I think there's like 4 seasons at the moment. So maybe as the show goes on, it gets better. So hopefully that's the case. But for now, I was kind of hoping. I went into this. I thought this would be like I don't know, 8.5 something. I thought it would be like much higher, but it only really comes out to like realistically a 7. But if I'm being generous, like a 7 to a 7.5. So yeah. So it wasn't as good as I was hoping, sadly, but it's just the first season, so maybe as it goes on, like maybe I'm pretty sure each season does have like so by the way, I did figure out I think how I'm gonna go about this. I think I'm gonna because it's kind of difficult to decide whether I'm gonna like watch the whole show and give a review. Like for example, like if I do review something like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it's like I'm not gonna review every season because like throughout the course of the show, it's like basically it's not like there's drastic changes between these seasons, so it's like it's easier to just review the entire like watch the entire show and then review it up to that point. But then for something like Severance, for example, it's like I should probably review each individual season because they are kind of different from each other. So in this case, also I'm reviewing each individual season, but it's kind of difficult to determine which method I should use because I haven't seen the show, so I don't know if the seasons are going to change drastically. So for the meantime, I'm kind of just using ChatGPT, and I'm asking it like, do you think this would be a show that would be better to just watch the whole thing and then give a review, or do you think I should review each individual season? And so that's pretty much my criteria now for basing on how I should go about reviews for like new shows that I haven't seen before. So yeah, that is just a small little update on how I'm going about things. This is also something I just maybe should have mentioned, but Joel McHale is in this, which I wasn't expecting. He was like the chef that ended up training Carmen, so he was good for like the one scene he was in. So yeah, that is pretty much all there is to it. If you have any recommendations, any shows, movies, video game stories, anime, web series, anything that you want me to review, leave it in the comments and I will maybe possibly check it out. But with that said, that is pretty much all there is to it, so let's leave it at that.